So let's talk a little bit about what the womb is and how to connect with it, because people might be hearing, connect to my womb. What do you mean? Are you talking about like connecting to my uterus? Are you talking about something else entirely? So let's give this elusive subject some form. The womb is a spectrum. Yes, I am talking about the physical uterus, reproductive organs, but it also has an emotional center. It also has a sexual center, spiritual center, and really, actually, it's all one thing. It's one organism with different dimensions to view it through. So yes, we could be talking about the physical womb as well, but it's really all the same. So what even is the womb? What do we mean when we're talking about that? Well, what does it do? Let's just speak in our fertile years. It is a cyclical thing. It gives the blueprint for life, and then it releases that if there's no life or if there's no conception. And then if there is life, it goes and it creates it. So basically what it's doing is every month it's collecting the best nutrients, the best of the best from all the body, the best blood, the best lining, and it's creating the best blueprint possible based off of the information and the material that it has that month to make the best blueprint possible for conception to occur. And if it doesn't, it takes all that raw material and it releases it. Okay, so the womb is a receiver. It receives data, it receives material, and it creates form. It creates. And we can even look at the macro. Let's just zoom out, because the womb is everywhere. There's the womb of creation. There's the cosmic womb. People are like, what? Well, quite literally, look at outer space. You have, how are solar systems made? How are planets made? Well, you have all this raw material from space coming in, and it's chaos. There's no order to it, right? There's gas and there's stuff floating around, and then all of a sudden there's this perfect space. That's the womb. That's the cosmic womb. It comes together, and this higher divine feminine intelligence creates form. Boom, there's a star. There's a solar system. And the same thing is happening in our body. All the data is being collected, all the matter is being collected. And the womb, this divine intelligence comes in, this divine feminine intelligence comes in, and it takes all that and it creates form. It's amazing that we have how universes are created inside of us, inside of our bodies as women. We get to mirror cosmic creation. And it's cyclical as well, right? It's like night and day. The flower blooms, the flower wilts. That happens inside of us every month. That happens to stars, that happens to planets, that happens to everything in nature. So if we're talking more emotionally, more energetically, more spiritually, because we understand physically that the womb is collecting blood and nutrients and materials, but what's also happening is that it's collecting emotional things, it's collecting sexual things, energetic things, and all of that is really, it's collecting our experiences, it's collecting our conscious impressions that we may or may not have digested, and it wants to create with it. So let's not give it material to create problems. And I think one way of just looking at this, and many great masters have spoken about this, Gurdjieff, Samael, and Weor, they're talking about the three centers of the organism, right? So we have the intellectual center, the emotional center, and then we have the sexual, motor, instinctive center, the womb space. Or for men, it would be the sexual organs. And what's really important to understand is that we're very subjective people. So those things are divided subjectively and objectively. So we have our everyday thoughts are subjective, intellectual center. But sometimes an incredible idea strikes an inventor, and that changes all of humanity. That would be coming from the more objective intellectual center. The same with emotions. We have a lot of feelings all the time we're feeling, and that's subjective. That's kind of our own processes. But then there's the higher emotional center, which would be probably what inspired Beethoven to create the Ninth Symphony, objective art, right? And so all of this, all of our experiences, all of our thoughts, everything that we take in, consciously or unconsciously usually, is being collected by the womb. It is data for the womb, and she will create. So this is why women experience a lot of pain, a lot of autoimmune conditions, a lot of disease there. And it's ever increasing in this world because the system is overcomplicated. We're giving her data to create problems, right? And this is a very deep subject. And I think it's really important that we understand that the womb is a receiver, right? So just on a sexual level, what that means would be women take on the energy of who they share their energy with sexually. They take on their energy. They take on all their complicated thoughts, all their complicated emotions, all their complicated experiences, and they receive that also as data. So the womb contains a lot. She can take a lot. But when we overcomplicate the system with too many shared energies or too many traumas, too many undigested experiences, too much chatter, we're taking on too much. But it's important that we already have our system that's complicated. So when we also take on someone else's and perhaps who they've been connected to as well, that's a lot. Which is why, and people, I know some people aren't going to like to hear this, but I can't lie. Yeah, so this is why it's very important to hear the voice of your womb. And the more you uncomplicate your system, the more you can understand the voice of your womb. And what do I even mean by that? She, for me, in my experience, she's like the gatekeeper. She says yes and no. Yes, this can come in. No, this can't. And I am not perfect. I am complicated like everybody else. I have too much going on just like everybody else. But the more you connect and the more you clear out the clutter, the more you can hear and the better you can have discernment of what can come in and what can't. And this does come down to who we partner up with. You know, part of me is hesitant to say that because that really goes against a lot of like the societal standards. But this is, in my direct experience, true. And if it doesn't feel right to you, that's okay. And if it does, if it resonates, then that's great. So we really start to learn to take care of ourselves, what we want to take on, what feels like too much in life, what doesn't. She'll tell you. And unfortunately, this whole thing is overcomplicated because of the world we live in. We live in a linear world, right? The womb and the feminine system is cyclical. It rises and it falls. It rests and it plays. It works and it nourishes. It receives and it gives. And we live in a world that is hyper-linear, hyper-masculine in that way. We're expected, even from young children, to be sitting at a desk learning arithmetic for like 8 hours in a day and then going home and doing homework. Where did we get to play? Where did we get to make art? Where did we get to sing and dance? Where did we get to rest as women? And what about when it is our time of the month? What about when it is our bleed and we have to go to work? There's nothing wrong. It's great that we live in a free time now. We're free to kind of do whatever we want, but there is this unconscious collective expectation that we be like men as well. And this in and of itself is causing problems. So we can't change everything overnight. And so this might mean making great changes in your life to honor your cyclical nature, or it could just be little steps. But some people are so cut off because of the world that we live in, and because perhaps they just haven't even thought about being connected in this way. And they feel disconnected. And it's like, well, how do they connect back? It's really simple. You can literally just connect with your warm hands on your womb. I have loads of resources in the description. You can download them, look at them. There's many practices you can do, but I think the most important thing is that you just take care of yourself, you nourish yourself, and you actually make a conscious connection to your womb space. And there's lots of this could be a lot of releasing. This could be apologizing to her for taking on too much complicated energy in the past. There's no guilt. There's nothing about what you've done in the past. It's just making a connection now, moving forward. The past is done. It's okay if we've abused I don't know if it's okay, but it is what it is. If we've abused the system in the past, we have to just recognize that and move forward in a way that's much more healthy and much more nourishing. So that starts with really taking care of ourselves and really honoring where we are in our cycle. Really honoring our feminine nature. Really honoring the creative force of the entire universe. And in a way, when we honor that, we're honoring divinity. We're honoring a higher intelligence. I think the most important thing here is to realize that you already are connected to your womb. You already are. You just have to uncomplicate the system a little bit. Just clear it out. Just start to connect. And I'm telling you, the womb is the most responsive organ in your body. You speak to her, she will speak back. And I can't tell you how because I have my own personal experience, but I know from working with many women and guiding them into this that they also can start to hear the voice of their womb, and your whole life can really change. So there's many practices you can do, which I've listed below. There's many ways to connect to the womb, but the most important thing is to remember that you already are connected. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you liked this, please like, subscribe, share, press whatever buttons are going to help other people see it. If you have something to add, please add it in the comments. I'd love to read it. I'm still learning just like you. So until next time.